Well, hello guys, my name is Nick from Nickstoygarage, and today we are doing a restoration on this Matchbox Series number 8 Mustang. This car was produced from 1967 till 1970 and came in two different colors, white and red, and two different kind of wheels depending on the year. This particular white one was between 1967 and 1969, somewhere between that, this style of wheels and this style of color. Now this is a special car because this has actual turning wheels. Yes, you can see it on the side. There is a little lever where you can actually steer the car. I don't think many Matchbox cars had this. I think 2 or 3. The Cougar had it, but I'm going to store soon, and this one. Looking at the bottom, well, the paint is just gone. It's just gone. This is not going to be a custom. This is going to be an actual restoration. So, thought you would have known that. First, I have to drill out the front rivets. Not the front, the back rivet, because the front has been held in place with a little chap. I take my handy dandy screwdriver and pry open the base. The base releases from the back and you can just slide the front out relatively easily. There you can see the actual steering mechanism, really simple. If you put it to the back, it goes left, to the front, it goes right. Really easy. So what you do is just you take your handy dandy screwdriver, pop out, I think this is supposed to be the spring that holds in the steering mechanism to the actual wheels. And next you just slide it backwards. It was a little bit stuck, it didn't really steer all that well before I took it apart, so you just slide it backwards and it just falls right out. There you can see the steering mechanism in action. Next I take out the nice red interior and the tow hook. You know the tow hook isn't staying. I know I'm altering them all, but it's still a restoration for me. And next the window comes right out. First I weaken the pop rivet a little bit that holds in the window, and then my handy dandy screwdriver just finishes off the job. Really carefully slide it under the window and just pry open ever so slightly, and it just pops right off. This doesn't happen on every model. You have to kind of get a feeling if it's possible or not. Next, the base. It's time to take out the wheels and axles. So I take my Dremel again, place my finger on one side of the axle, and then Dremel off the metal edge on the other side of the axle, so the wheel just comes off like that. There you can see me still, but it's the turning axle really messed me because it was really hard taking them off, just because that turning axle. Oh well, after a little bit of swearing, I got them off nice and easily, and it's time to get them sandblasted. I love this step, it's so satisfying to watch. With this model it was a little bit more difficult because there are a lot of kind of grills on the car, so the paint would stick really hard in there, and there was something wrong with my air compressor, so it wasn't really blasting on full capacity. Oh well, took me about a minute or 2 minutes to get most of the paint off, and then later my paint stripper will finish the job. When the model itself is sandblasted, I also do the base because that deserves a new coat of that amazing looking black paint. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys like to see more. Videos like this where I do just a kind of restoration plus kind of, or videos where I actually do custom. I don't do really big customs. I don't do, well, you know, some people can do amazing customs. I cannot really do that, but I really want to know what you guys want to see on this channel more. Next, it's time for my old can of paint stripper. If you watched my earlier videos from over a year ago, I used this every single video. It works quite well, but it just, the sandblasting cabinet is so much easier and so much quicker. But there are still some models that don't get all the paint off, and I just like to use my paint stripper on those. Meanwhile, that is stripping the paint. I take the base and get it a nice and painted black with just a spray painted bottle, $1 black paint, because yeah, I'm cheap like that. Next I take my brush and brush off the loose paint, and then take my mom's pajama pants to take off the remainder of the paint after giving it a bath, so the solution is just off the car, so the new paint won't just dissolve. For primer I will be using a fine surface primer by Tamiya. in grey this time, doing about 3 coats in total from the inside and the outside of the car, leaving 15 to 20 minutes to dry between coats. Obviously making sure I get a nice and even coverage, especially with the last coat, so I can always wet sand it if the primer does not come out all that well. Here you can see me putting on a second coat of primer. I'm doing the third coat off camera. When the primer is applied, it's time for the color. I said it's a restoration, so I'm not going to change the color. It's staying white. I was debating changing it even when I was putting it back together, but now it is together with the wheels, with the details, and white was just the right choice. Believe me, if you're not sold yet, wait till the end of the video, because with the details, with the front, with the grille, the white makes sense. Again, making sure I do the inside and the outside, because you can see inside the car. And again, 2 to 3 coats, leaving between 20 minutes to dry between coats. Next, it's time for the fine details, starting with the black grille. Trying to paint the inside of the grille black. Spilled a little bit, but that's not that much of a problem, so we're going to fix that later on. Next, I take my red Sharpie and paint in the inner taillights, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. And when those are all nice and painted in, I move on to the next step, and that are the blinkers. Yes, I'm using blinkers! If you watch my older videos, you know I don't actually put blinkers on anything. No, I did put them on the back. I didn't put them on the front, because the grille and the headlights are just so busy. I didn't want to add any more orange to that, to be honest. But it looks really good, if I do say so myself. Next step, it's time to get my chrome marker in action. Yes, they sent me another 1mm, this is a 4mm, but they sent me another 1mm chrome marker, which immediately broke after the video. I'm not doing it wrong, I think. I watch tutorials and everything, and they just keep breaking. They work fine for one model, and then I put them away and use them again, and they just explode. Not really, but you know what I mean. You can see me actually use it, and it works really well for those 1 minute that it's actually working. Oh well. I did use it to take out the chrome paint, and I can use a toothpick to apply the chrome paint, so it's not that big of a deal. Still would really recommend the 4mm chrome marker, and I think there's a 2mm even. I would really recommend those. So I did the front and rear bumper. The rear bumper goes halfway up the tail. I did the grille surround, the grille insert, and the headlights on the front of the vehicle. Next, it's time to give the interior a nice bath. And obviously I did the door handles in the same chrome paint. After the interior is nice and clean, I take my snippers, my scissors, my tweezer thingies, and there goes the towing hook. That's the first thing I need to do every restoration, because I don't think a Mustang deserves a tow hook. Next, it's time to clean these beautiful looking Matchbox wheels. I really enjoy how these things look. And next, it's time to give the windshield a little polish. Not that much. That's not the windshield, those are the axles. Just taking the tip of the axles, the part you will actually see, and just sanding them to make them shine again. And there is the windshield getting a coat of polish. I don't use a machine or particular deep polish, but they turn out good nevertheless. It is still a budget channel, so don't hate me, please. Next, it's time for the reassembly. Taking an axle, a wheel, putting the axle through the wheel, through the model, and then the wheel on the other side. Taking my vice grips and just putting all my shaking force on it to crimp the axle so the wheel will stay on. And obviously do the same with the rear axle. Exact same process, making sure that the axle both axle goes in the same way, so you don't have a mushroom one side and a crimped axle on the other side. Next, it's time for the rest. I take the body, I take the windshield, and because I didn't actually drill out the rivet, the window should just snap back into place. Next, the interior, it just goes around the post in the back, where the tow hook was supposed to go. Next I take the model again and try to reassemble the actual steering mechanism. So first this thing goes back in, the actual, what is it called? The thing sticking out to steer the car. And next it's the actual spring kind of mechanism. Wasn't really sure how to do it. You can see me messing about it right there. That's upside down. It needs to go back, upside down. He's a little bit slow today. He's a little bit. You just need to turn it around. There we go. I knew he was a good boy today. So snapping that into place. And then just making sure all the steering and the wheels actually turn. Next, it's time to slot in the front of the car, snap in the back, and then use a self-tapping screw, after obviously drilling out the post, to make sure the model stays together and can be easily taken apart in the future. So let's take a look at it before the restoration, when it was nice and white, nice with a tow hook, missing paint, dirty interior. Well, you can see it right there. And let's take a look at it after the restoration, right here. It's nice, it's white, it has details, and I really believe the white does this justice. I know 2 white cars in a row, wasn't really planning that, but I love how this thing turned out. So make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't so well, because I saw that 45% isn't subscribed yet, so please subscribe. And obviously a special thank you to all my Patreons. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in a future video. Bye.